The New York Times reported on Friday that U.S. President Barack Obama signed a secret order to dramatically change the role of U.S. military forces in Afghanistan and permit them to engage in a direct combat role. In May of this year, Obama announced that the remaining troops would be limited to training Afghan forces and fighting al-Qaeda. Obama campaigned on a pledge to end the 13-year-long conflict. This new order breaks that commitment and opens the door to combat between U.S. forces and the Taliban. The order also authorizes U.S. airstrikes. This shift in policy appears to be the result of the collapse of the Iraqi security forces in the face of the advance of the Islamic State group. U.S. military officials fear the same could happen in Afghanistan. Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos tweeted on Saturday that the release of captured General Alzate is set to happen next week. Colombian authorities have said that the weather conditions in the Chocó region, one of the rainiest in the world, could delay the release of the general. The International Red Cross Committee has been given the authorization to receive the detainees. However, Telesur's correspondent Vladimir Carrillo indicated that there were no signs of their presence as of yet. The hope is that the release of the General Alzate, along with 4 others, will happen soon, as their release will signal the return of the Colombian government to the negotiating table in Cuba, where peace talks between the FARC rebel group and the government are ongoing to end the 50-year-long armed conflict.
With the ever-growing protests calling for justice in Ayotzinapa, Mexico's President Enrique Peña Nieto is shifting his tone in the face of the country's indignation.
There are some that are interested in attacking the fundamental freedom to protest, just to vandalize, and this we will not allow, because this is simply not allowed.
Yet some activists believe that the government's warning only emboldens more resistance, giving a spawning social movement greater strength.
Peña Nieto said he will use state force if necessary, and people, instead of panicking and staying at home, are returning to the street, and they come out with great strength, great joy.
However, these same activists begin to ask questions as to what goals and strategies this nascent movement needs to take.
With great conviction, we say, out Peña Nieto, that the regime falls, but how real is the call that the government falls? And also, if the government falls, who's next? What do we do when there's only one possibility of legitimate political leadership in this country?
Without clear answers and perhaps a clear direction, this new impulse to change Mexico may not produce the positive results that many desperately hope for. Clayton Khan, Telesur, Mexico City.
This Thursday night in Honduras, a tense atmosphere took over different police stations across the country, following news of the removal of Police Chief Ramón Savillón. The security minister, along with the national leadership of the police, announced that Félix Villanueva was the new police chief.
The presence of all the institutions shows that we are united, that we thank Savillón Pineda for his work, that we recognize him and that we will keep on supporting him, but that we also respect the decision of the president to give him a new mission.
Savillón, who recently denounced in the national media the lack of support that the police had, their low salaries, and described the government's decision to militarize security as a mistake, has refused to accept his dismissal. With the help of other officers, he has taken control of the police headquarters. In 24 hours, there has been no attempt by the new authorities to try to take him out, leading to speculation that his claims are shared by the whole security force.
We are disciplined officials, and our staff are working in the street on what they are supposed to be doing. If there was to be an attempted uprising, then we would respond accordingly. We have a team that is doing its best to deliver security to the citizenry.
General Commissioner Ramón Savillón has assured that he won't leave the building of the headquarters of the police force in Tegucigalpa until his 3 claims are attended. Police officers are working normally, but there is still a tense situation in Honduras. Gerardo Torres, Telesur, Central America.
Journalist Amanda Mesa has published the first investigation into the ordeals that the LGBT community underwent during the armed conflict of the 80s and 90s.
Lo que he encontrado son historias no contadas. Son historias de...
What I have found are untold stories, stories of hate, stories of horrific policies of extermination of populations that are poor, far away, and invisible.
Muy pobres, muy alejadas y muy invisibles.
Mesa is determined to continue her investigations even if she has to do it on her own. The homosexual movement of Lima is also committed to finding solutions.
Lo que estamos promoviendo es la generación de una comisión
What we are promoting is the creation of a Citizens' Truth Commission about the human rights of lesbians, transvestites, gays, and bisexuals to investigate situations of violence, torture, disappearances, and murder as a consequence of the armed conflict until now. There are structural conditions that mean the violence committed during the conflict against these populations continues today.
esas poblaciones sigue ocurriendo hasta hoy.
According to the report, insurgent armed groups and the right-wing government armed forces of the Fujimori regime committed crimes against these communities, but the information obtained is just the tip of the iceberg and an extensive investigation is needed. Reporting for Lima, Peru for Telesur, Rael Mora.
Reactions to Obama's executive action around immigration from the Latin American community in the United States have been mixed. Many have praised the decision by Obama to enact policy that will prevent the deportation of 4 million undocumented migrants, yet others feel that the measures do not go far enough. The right-wing Republican Party, currently in control of Congress, has promised to mount a multi-pronged legal challenge to Obama's immigration reform. Meanwhile, Obama has been defending his actions, blaming Republicans for failing to pass a bill into law.
Living here without paying their taxes or playing by the rules. As you might have heard, there are members of Congress who question my authority to make our immigration system work better. Well, I have one answer for that. Pass a bill. The day I sign it into law, the actions I've taken to help solve this problem will no longer be necessary.
A Tunisian woman called for a free Palestine as she won a beauty pageant exclusively for Muslims on Friday. Ben Gafrache Fatima, a computer engineer, won the contest held in Indonesia, the most populous Muslim-majority country in the world. The World Muslima Award is widely seen as a response to Western beauty contests that are primarily concerned with the physical appearance of women. The contestants in this Muslim-only contest are judged not only on their appearance, but also their views on Islam in the modern world.
Facts that have marked the course of history. Productions designed in the English language and made for the English-speaking world. This is Documentary. Watch it on telesur.net/English. Telesur, wherever the news, you'll be there.